Well, hello, my YouTube family. Thank you so much for coming on over. Boy, do I have a great video for you today. I'm going to provide you, I think, with mind-blowing numbers, to be certain, actually, and titillating and tantalizing revelations, guys, on the extreme financial situation that we got going on in the United States. That's right. This is a $20 American bill that my uncle was kind enough to give to me. I asked him for a $100 bill to show you guys my audience, or a $1,000 bill. But this is what he had on him. He's doing very well. But so anyway, you get the idea, guys. A lot of this money is from the U.S. federal government. And of course, when we talk money in the United States, this often means internationally. It certainly affects my powerful and beautiful people in Canada here and all our allies to a large degree, guys. And again, the numbers, eventually when I start talking about them, I think it's going to blow your mind, guys. Now, some of this research is going to fall in the line of Catherine Austin Fitts, right? The great financial expert who's really got her fingers on the pulse of the economy, who has the experience working on under George W. Bush back in the day, okay? For HUD, none other than Housing Urban Development. She was secretary for the federal housing guys. So she was seeing a lot of the money disappearing, okay? And she didn't even realize till I think after she retired to really get a handle on how much money are we talking about that was stolen, that was missing. Missing's the layman term, guys, by the way. You know, she knows too. It's engineered out of the economy, okay? So we're going to get into it. We're going to dive right in. Just before we do, guys, just a reminder, excuse me, if you think I have value to share with humanity in my own unique way and style, as I said, guys, my goal is to penetrate this black budget technology for us, my friends, and together break down the walls of this crazy, absurd elite secrecy once and for all, provide transparency and truth on these all-important issues, the issues of the money, where is it going, which we're going to get into, guys. You know, trying to provide truth on UFO, military UFO flying programs. And I want you to think about that. And why do I have this sock? Well, as we go on about the money, guys, I want you to remember, again, military UFO flying programs. I want you to think of that. And know that in my last video on the TR3B, the amazing black triangles, Lockheed Martin, the prime contractors, I broke down the technology, guys, and we'll do future videos on it. They put it right in front of your face, even on their merchandise. That's right. I'll set the sock down now. But here's the symbols, guys, of course, on Space Force and NASA. All right? Again, this is Jason Cosmic. RSSP is my channel. I hope you guys will subscribe to my channel. Like I said, if you think I have some value to share, I think I do. I think this is a unique channel. If you enjoy my videos, give me that thumbs up, would you? And hit that church bell so you can be notified for future videos, all right? Oh, by the way, guys, military UFO flying programs. If you watch my past videos, I show you and talk a lot about this amazing infrared, beautiful, powerful photo. And that is staffed by U.S. naval officers, guys. Trillions of dollars of hardware flying around all the way in the rings of Saturn. So let's get into the money, guys, because that's a lot of where the money's going. And again, we're going to get into it more here, okay? But here we go. So, and again, guys, this is going to follow a lot of the line of Catherine Austin Fitts' research. I'm going to add my own flavor as well, okay, and what I've uncovered. So, you know, we have a huge part of the balance sheet that is both globally and domestically invisible, okay? We literally have a secret classified endowment of trillions and trillions of dollars that is disappearing. Just like down a black hole. You know, imagine, Catherine even said, you know, imagine the whole planet being organized, sort of run like a hive, right? We've got trillions and trillions of dollars disappearing down a black hole or like a non-transparent one-way mirror, okay? And here's the thing, guys. It is literally financing, and this is my own words, mark my words, guys. And this is the truth, my friends. It is literally financing an off-world culture, post-petroleum civilization. If you guys watch my videos on the TR3B, you'll get a handle of the covert military civilizations that I'm trying to help people become competent and understanding some of the illegal operations and this whole echelon of society, guys, out there, okay? And we'll get into in this video too a bit. But we're literally talking an off-world culture, post-petroleum civilization, because they're not relying on rockets to travel around, guys. No way. It's free energy generation propulsion systems, okay? And that's a large part of what this money is financing, guys. It absolutely is. It sounds wild, but this is what the hidden secret system of finance, guys, has done. And it's for military UFO flying programs, a large part of it. You better believe it, okay? And one of the prime defense contractors we got to focus on to get the truth, guys, and ultimately get this technology finally for the rest of the world, because it's been over 70 years they've been lying to us, guys, right? And you'll see in this video, the lies have become so outrageous and so dysfunctional, it's unbelievable, okay? Enough is enough. We deserve the truth on this, all right? We've been lied on the black budget technology for 70 years, all right? So we've got a secret classified endowment, guys, at trillions and trillions of dollars. We literally have an overt economy, overt financial system where, you know, people have been just pretending for years this isn't happening, you know? And guys, you know, I'm going to put a link in the descriptions, excuse me, guys. Check it out, because I did, and I've said this many times in my videos, I think we did one of the most powerful, electrifying live streams, live podcast theater ever done. I'm addressing you, Joe from the Carolinas. Yes, Joe from the Carolinas and I, guys, he invited me on about a year ago. I was honored that he did. I was just talking in Noisy Park with my old phone, and guess what the topic was? I was discussing the missing trillions, what I researched, and listening to the interviews from Catherine Austin Fitts, guys. You know, and understanding, because I look at the covert side, just as Catherine does to a certain extent. Here's a financial expert looking at the covert side, and she's dealt with the covert side, guys. Unlike 99% of, you know, financial commentators out there, right? They don't understand, or they underestimate the control methods to manage the economy, guys. They really do. And we'll get into it. They don't understand, largely, the military, the covert weaponry, so the military and intelligence capabilities standing behind that U.S. reserve currency, guys. And they certainly don't understand, not like Catherine does, how they funnel money literally out of cities, towns, and communities, guys. It's like a fine art the way they do it, man. The depth and breadth of the corruption from some of these greedy, petro-Nazi American British misanthropic money hoarders, as I described, it is off the charts, guys. And enough is enough. You know, and they're very, very nervous, guys. Elements of the CIA, the corporate intelligence communities, I believe, particularly the CIA right now, of the regular federal government, for example, guys, in particular, and even some of the defense contractors probably as well, because thanks to Catherine's work, guys, this financial expert with her experience and expertise, for 15 years, for example, she's trying to bring transparency to the black budget, everyone. Telling you, you know, and realizing this is the lion's share of the economy. You know, I've told so many friends this. And again, I mentioned my friends at Starbucks. Hey, dudes, I've got a couple male friends that I try to inspire and ignite their fertile imaginations to dig in a little bit, you know. Watch my videos. Go to some other researchers. I've named them to my friends, but including myself, of course. But really dig in and realize that these are the topics and issues that most of us should be talking about. Because, guys, we're talking about, we can literally facilitate such a profound, transformative, revolutionary change in our world, guys. It will absolutely be a revolutionary change, because we're talking revolutionary non-plutonium physics energy here, guys. And you won't need a centralized utility bill, as I keep saying. Other researchers will tell you that too. And we won't need stinky oil, gas, and coal. All right, guys. And they are financially harvesting the planet. Okay. And we'll get into the enormous privileges. Hopefully I'll remember as we go on in this video, guys, that it's caused for small groups of people out there. And we deserve the truth for most of us in the public, guys. Okay? Anyway, I'm trying to inspire my friends, therefore, at Starbucks and other people, you know, to dig in for the truth here. Let's take the blinders off, and let's do what Catherine is doing too, guys. Let's look at this in also a serious financial way. Because when you have, as you're going to see in this video, guys, when you have this much government spending, this much management of the whole industrial economy, right? It's literally like a material mission, as Catherine will describe, not talking about it, right? And I agree with her. Again, guys, this is the lion's share of the economy. We're going to bring up numbers, like I said. I think it's going to shock you. I think you're going to be flabbergasted, as I was, to learn some of these numbers and a few stories, brief stories from Catherine's enlightening view there, analyzing her times in Washington, guys. Okay? So let's carry on here. As I said, we've got a totally over economy, over financial system, where for years people were pretending this isn't happening, guys. But now more and more people slowly are waking up, okay? And here's an example, guys. I'll throw out this figure real quick. Literally since 1998, we have $21 trillion missing since 1998, guys. And that's a hard figure that was carried worldwide. Does that shock you? It should. I think it does, right? Unbelievable. And that's a hard figure that was reported on probably on CNN, many other lamestream medias, even though they don't like to go on about it. But Catherine Austin Fitts got the help from Professor Skidmore. Dark Journalist has had interviews with Catherine Austin Fitts. Dark Journalist doing some really good work. I commend him. And again, Joe from the Carolinas, guys, you could check out her amazing live stream, okay? It was titled Secret Space Program Culture Controversial Interview. We got into the missing trillions. We got into the UFO technology, etc. It was amazing. And Joe, I challenge you. Be courageous, Joe. Have me back on again for another podcast so we can educate and have fun, bringing in thousands of more people learning about these topics. And with us together, Joe, providing that information. And it'll be great for my channel. Joe's never done another live stream with me since, guys, because he was censored by YouTube, by the way. After we did our live stream, he was given a community strike on a gardening video. I told this before. Unbelievable. How do you violate community standards on a gardening video, guys? We both think that it was something, they didn't like what we talked about, coming out with so much truth. We didn't spout off any garbage. So, this is what the CIA sometimes do, guys. They pull diva moves. But we got to be courageous, use the YouTube platforms respectfully, and we can continue to move forward and do podcasts, guys. I know I'm getting off track here, but anybody out there who wants to do a podcast, those of you that are intelligent and you want to help the world, because I think podcasts is one of the ways we can do it, guys. It absolutely is. We can educate thousands and thousands of more people and eventually millions, my friends, and wake people up. I know we can, okay? And doing YouTube videos in general, right? So here we go. As I said, my friends, $21 trillion missing, and Catherine got the help from Professor Skidmore at University of Michigan. He had, I think it was 20 of his, grad students, and they were going through documents in the U.S. federal government, okay? Well, as much as 21 trillion is, that's still a low number, guys, right? As enormous and crazy a number that is, because that only includes from, I think, DOD, Defense. That number. It was either DOD or HUD, Housing and Urban Development. I always get them confused, but one or the other, guys. It did not include other elements in the federal government. And we're going to get into other numbers, guys, that are even greater than that. I'll show you in a moment. Stay with me here, guys. So, again, over financial system, over economy, money disappearing down almost like a black hole, right? Non-transparent one-way mirror. And what's extraordinary is, as the lies have continued, guys, and Catherine knows, and, any decent hardcore researcher looking at the financial systems of the economy, looking at military UFOs in a real, noble way and trying to bring transparency and truth, you realize that the lies have become so outrageous. When you look at the behavior of the U.S. leadership and government, the lies that come out, right, and from the defense contractors, the likes of Lockheed Martin, sometimes Boeing, Northrop Grumman, but particularly Lockheed Martin, guys, with all their scams, they got a huge, huge monopoly, as I said in the last video, on a lot of these projects. Don't ever forget that, guys, okay? They are controlling most of the data in the U.S. federal government, by the way. Did you know that? I found it remarkable. So did Dark Journalist, I'm sure. He was interviewing Fitts on some interviews, and I'll never forget when Catherine said in her times in Washington, get this, guys, and we've got to change this. I mean, it blew my mind. She literally said that anytime she went to get data from HUD, meaning Housing and Urban Development, or DOD defense, whatever it was always blocked. Can you guess the defense contractor, guys, who it was? You got it. Lockheed Martin. That's right. Outrageous, right? And anytime she went to get the contracting paperwork that came out of HUD, it was controlled by, you guessed it, right? You know, Lockheed Martin again, guys, as well as many other various agencies within the federal government. So you got a military contractor basically controlling all the data in the U.S. federal government. That's a serious, serious problem, right? So, guys, we got to change that. We got to ask the right questions, okay? So, let's continue on about the missing trillions here, my friends. So, again, as the lies have become so outrageous. I guess that's my point on this part, my friends, of the video, and Catherine knows it too, right? This whole cover-up for 70 years, right? You know, you continue to see, particularly mainstream media, and they do it on the internet too, but they put out so many psyops, disinformation, orchestrated strategic distractions, guys. You know, again, misdirection, egregious lies at times. But I'm telling you guys, we can cut through the misdirection, the lies, the orchestrated strategic distractions, right? You just got to train your mind. You got to look at the truth, okay? And don't pay attention too much to mainstream media, guys. Do some research and investigation, you know. It'll be eye-opening, I swear to God, guys. I've always said research and investigation can be very enticing, invigorating, right? Absolutely. So again, guys, we'll do whole videos on just this cover-up alone for 60 to 70, really 70 years, guys, since they made the gravity breakthrough, okay? And this hidden secret system of finance. We're going to get into the timeline in a moment, guys. But the lies have become, again, so crazy, so outrageous, so egregious. You know, the U.S. leadership and government, Catherine knows this too, guys, they literally have lost the ability to deal with the difference between reality and official reality. They really have, my friends. And this is why, again, we need transparency and truth. We need truth on what the hell NASA's doing half the time. You know, they put out so many egregious lies. I've told you guys in former videos, you know, they're part of covering up for the military intelligence establishment. They have from day one. We know the hardcore Nazis started up NASA, guys. And did you know NASA, Catherine doesn't tell you this, but I found out NASA steals literally $53 million a day from the laughing stock of the world, U.S. taxpayers. That's right. That's a fact, guys. And I'll even give credit. There's a young guy. I'll give you his email address. He tells you on his video, he exposed a guy named Joe Rogan, the biggest podcaster in the world. And I've been meaning to expose Joe Rogan for a long time, even before I watched his video on it. And the young guy did a great job. And he even tells you can email him. He'll show you NASA steals $53 million a day. I love this guy that he's looked a little bit at the covert side. He doesn't look near as deeply as I do. But still, guys, we need people like that are showing you how they're financially harvesting, financially fleecing, scamming U.S. taxpayers' pockets and people around the world, guys. Right? It shouldn't be that way. That's evil, man. And we'll get into Space Force in future videos. So, again, my friends, as the lies have become so ridiculous, you know, again, when you've got this much money produced in secret, right? We've got the whole world now interested finally to go into space, guys, right? We're living in such an exciting, remarkable, privileged era. It's really amazing, okay? And when you've got this much money produced in secret over the years, guys, which it has, we'll get into more of the hidden secret system of finance that's been set up and how it was set up. But you know, when you have this much money produced in secret, everything's contingent on maintaining that secrecy, right, guys? You know, we literally have a space-based economy. And I agree with Catherine. I think since 1947, largely the defining driver for the U.S. economy has been space, guys. You just got to go back to the gravity breakthroughs. And I discussed it in great detail in the last video, my friends. And I've done in past videos, particularly in the last one. The historical legacy of the gravity research, okay? And starting in 1947 and even before that, particularly the 1950s, okay? But I digress. So here we go, my friends. So here's the thing, too. As I said, as the lies have become so outrageous, guys, you know, the U.S. leadership and government, they can't even deal with reality anymore. it's unbelievable. So this is why, guys, we're this close to getting the truth and be able to compel, I believe, the U.S. leadership and government to finally explain away this cover-up. And if they're not going to finally show some courageousness, guys, and that meaning the CIA as well, the intelligence community, and elements of the NSA, the NRO, the Deep Black program contractors, likes of the elements of Lockheed Martin, guys, some of the shadow groups within these structures, if they're not going to be courageous, as I've said in other videos, guys, never forget that the U.S. Constitution states you can build and take down your own governments, guys. Don't ever forget that, okay? But I've always said, just do a peaceful march in front of Washington. But we'll talk on future videos on how we can make these profound changes, guys. And one of them, again, is to have intelligent discourse, I believe, do these videos, and try to wake people up and have people participate, you know? And again, guys, feel free to leave comments. I read them, okay? I appreciate your insights. So even if you give me constructive criticism, I can handle it. So as I was saying, my friends, and so, you know, when you're trying to run, here's an example, guys. When you're trying to run a government, when you're trying to run a business, you know, when you're trying to run a budget or your personal savings and investments, and if everything around you is surrounded by what Catherine calls material missions, right? And if you don't have a basic, you know, understanding of financial reality and economic reality, you're in a whole world of hurt, right? Because, you know, Catherine Austin Fitts, for example, as a financial person, an expert, if she's going to understand the financial systems of the economy, she has to understand, and this is why I'm glad she's looked at it to a certain degree, she's got to understand more and more of this phenomena, and the phenomena being military UFOs, this amazing technology, and these trillions and trillions of dollars of hardware, guys. She's got to look at it. Because again, guys, this is the lion's share of the economy. I'm telling you. And this is why it amazes me how to this day, this is why we got to change this, guys, and I know we can't, that none of my friends hardly ever at Starbucks, at Tim Hortons, wherever you go in public hardly, right? They're not, do you ever hear people talking about the secret space program, the Space Force, NASA? You might get occasional people in their own homes, it seems, that might, you know, discuss with their friend, oh, maybe I just watched Dark Journalist, or I watched Joe from the Carolinas video, or, you know, I participated on a live chat. No, we got to have also discussions in public, guys, about these issues and make it mainstream, in other words, right? Let's wake up the masses, guys. And this money is astronomical, the theft that's been stolen, my friends, and has caused so much, you know, again, guys, elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, some of the Deep Black program contractors out there, so elements of the Air Force and the Navy, they have caused so much anguish, heartache, depression around the world, my friends. And, you know, I always add a qualifier. There's still good people in the CIA, no question about it. And I'm addressing those guys as well out there, you know. And there's good people in the military, no question about it, okay? But I'm talking about some of these shadow evil groups, my friends, and this higher echelon so-called society. We'll get into that in a few moments, guys, in this video, okay? But, you know, and even Billy Carson, you know, I'll never forget, guys, he's the guy who owns First Class Space Agency that sometimes I refer to a bit of his work as well, okay? He's one of the few people in the world as well that has noble intentions in trying to bring, I think, a lot of transparency and truth as much as he legally can to what's going on with some of the free energy systems out there, how the structures work to a certain degree. My buddy Michael Schratt, the great aerospace aircraft historian, he's trying to do the same. Hi, Michael. And Joe from the Carolinas, he's bringing truth in his own way too, in his own unique style with his videos and what he's covering. I think Joe actually, did you copy me, Joe, after I did my Space Force video many months ago? You started to do a whole series on the Space Force. You know, I think sometimes Joe even follows my lead, even though my channel's much smaller. I've only got, although I'm a new channel compared to Joe, he's been at this for since 2014 or something. But, and I'm glad Joe, you know, he showed a lot of stamina dealing with the algorithms of YouTube, you know, being censored on occasion, especially after our live stream seemingly. But anyway, you know, Joe's got over, 7,000 subscribers now. I've got about 83 or 84 subscribers. It's ridiculous. And friends think I'm being bounced off search engines. But anyway, I digress. But I know, guys, with your support, we could take this channel to a whole nother level, okay? So I hope you're finding this video interesting, guys, because I think it's so fascinating and so important. And we're discussing the money here, my friends. Again, guys, Catherine's got to understand, when you've got hundreds of trillions of dollars of hardware flying around in our skies, right? And I showed you photos on the TR-3B, guys, just as an example. Where did it go? Right over here. Excuse me. When you've got hundreds of trillions of dollars of hardware flying around in our skies, right? That is pertinent to the manufacturing basis of what's going on in our planet, guys, right? Absolutely. And again, this is an authentic photo, by the way, of the TR-3B taken in Belgium, okay? The Belgian wave, they called it, where thousands of witnesses basically were seeing these triangles, and the F-16s were chased after them, literally. Of course, they could never catch them. It literally leaves them in the dust. The black triangles, the black budget technology guys, military UFOs, all right? Just had to throw that out there. This is what we're talking about, guys. And we'll even go more specifically, too, of where a certain amount of money is going. But hold on here, my friends. So, again, we've got to understand, as Catherine does, guys, we're talking about military UFO flying programs largely, which allows, and we're also talking major off-planet investment, guys. On the moon and Mars are celestial bodies, no question about it. They are there, guys. And these are the covert military civilizations, okay? And now, you hear Elon Musk. He's going on a one-way trip with his rocket. Oh, this sophisticated Falcon 5 heavy rocket. Guys, don't ever forget, I know I'm getting off track a little bit, but it does refer to the missing trillions, guys, as well. But don't get, rockets is obsolete dinosaur technology. Elon Musk knows it. I believe he's just a CIA puppet. He's there to disorient the public, distract the public from the real amazing exotic technology, guys, that we should be using for space travel. Don't ever forget that, okay? And that it's just a scam. All the commercialized space, I know it sounds fascinating. There's a lot of great things happening coming down the pipe, guys, and with the space-based economy. But don't be confused, guys. Use discernment, right? That rockets is a scam, man. We've got to fight for our freedoms, guys, and that means fighting for our right for the black budget technology, right? And ultimately, as I always say, guys, it's all about, if we provide this transparency and truth, which is vital, guys, this is what it's going to take so that we can grow a culture and society to sustain ethical leadership, right, guys? That's what it's all about. Most of us want that, right? Well, we're not going to do it if we just continue to go along with a lot of the CIA antics, guys. And that means the disinformation and lies, now the lies with all the space travel, and you got our Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield pumping up rockets for space travel. He knows it's ridiculous. He's lying to you guys. In my opinion, I truly believe that. The evidence is there, guys. He should be talking about the real black budget technology, okay? Anyway, so let's get into the money here again, guys. Where did this all start, and how did the hidden secret system of finance, when did it start, and let's bring it up to the present, okay? I'm going to give you some foundational underpinnings here of history, real important history, all right? And Fitz will tell you part of this as well, that she understands that in 1947, I talked about this on Joe's live stream, by the way, guys. I'm just going to set my timer here. I'm going to talk, guys. Hold on. So, 1947, excuse me, you had the 47 and 49 Act and those provisions, right? And you had the Financial Stabilization Fund set up. Well, when you had the CIA funding moving in, that's when you set up the critical train tracks, basically, of this hidden secret system of finance, of government money that just started to flow into private corporations, I believe, guys, particularly in the last several decades, right? You basically, and by the 1960s, my friends, during the Eisenhower years, remember, Eisenhower even warned us, beware of the military-industrial complex, right? Because he wasn't even getting, the segmented, integrated information on what was going on the operational plans and the black projects, Absolutely not. Even the great Joseph P. Farrell blogged about that, I think about a year ago or months ago, you know, a little bit of what was going on during the Eisenhower administration. Well, guys, this all relates to the hidden secret system of finance. Eisenhower knew it as well, that they had set up, they literally found a way to get an infinite amount of government financing totally off the books, basically, guys. That's right, right? Very dangerous change in the government structure, including hiding a lot of this money. We now know it is largely buried within private corporations in the heart of the military-industrial complex, guys. That's right. They often use private corporations, as I've always said, that are affiliated and contracted within the military. That way they can hide everything, guys. And you know, even Billy Carson knows this to a degree. It starts in those dark projects, guys. Okay? This is why I'm trying to help us to break down the walls of this absurd elite secrecy. And we will do more videos just on the structure of the secrecy of the aerospace companies and really how it works, okay, in the future. So you had the 4749 Act and those provisions, like I said, guys. Then you have the CIA funding moving in, right? And then when Bush came in office, and then again, so we're going to go past the 1960s now. Again, there was a lot of financial fraud throughout the 1960s. But then when you get to the 1980s, man, the financial fraud we know, guys, anybody who's half awake, the financial fraud that I described was like on an industrial scale. It really was. And throughout the 90s, and now we know even to the present too, guys, at times. But, and even Catherine thinks, you know, what I find interesting, she said too, we'll talk about the Bush administration in a moment, but she said, you know, she thinks that financial fraud and incompetence, that was just a cover story. What it really was a financial coup d'etat, she says, right? And for years, you know, here's another fascinating thing I thought she brought up. You know, she's been trying to figure out for years, she said, why did we rebalance the global economy in such an aggressive way that was going to cause enormous fast change, you know, and opportunity and heartache around the world? Why did we do it? Did we do it because the technology from the space orbital platforms allowed us to do it? Because there definitely is a lot of invasive methods, even Fitz knows to a certain degree, of, you know, invasive methods coming down now, as I say, from the space orbital platforms, guys. Amazing technology, whether it be electronic harassment, etc. You know, in China and Cuba, remember you had that electronic harassment, that's one of the terms used, but there was a directed energy weapon that, you know, goes through walls. This is all patent technology, guys, and it made those politicians sick. There was a, you know, and always goes back to the military, guys. You know, whatever group was in charge, they were able to carry out their agendas because they made those politicians sick. So they couldn't even carry out their policies. This is what happens, guys. This is what's going on. So did we do it for that reason, she said, or did we do it for another reason? And it took her years to realize this now, guys. And I think she understands now because of the space-based economy and what's going on. All this space investment, space travel. She knows, you know, the covert side a little bit. But she says, she thinks we did it because, you know, these groups, and obviously elements of the CIA as well, and the defense contractors, but they felt it very, very important to have a multi-planetary civilization. That's right. And do it as quickly as possible. It sounds wild, guys, right? But it's already there, guys. Just like even Bill, if you just look at the evidence, my friends, Elon Musk, he tells you he's going to Mars. And as Billy says, these billionaires that want to go off planet, that are going to go off planet, they're not going to some ice rock. There is infrastructure waiting for them, my friends. Even Billy used the term, they're going to live like kings. I hope they don't live like kings. I mean, I still don't think Mars is going to be near as beautiful as our precious planet here on Earth, of course. But guys, there is a multiplanetary civilization. Catherine says too, you know, she says she knows the next question is, you know, poses is why? You know, why do they want to build this multiplanetary civilization so quickly? Is it a catastrophe that's about to happen? Who knows? But we're trying to figure that out. But here's the thing, guys. So you got the 4749 Act, and under George W. Bush, you know, remember, guys, right after 9/11, or actually, you know, before 9/11, of course, we know Rumsfeld announced $2.3 trillion missing in 1 year, right? Remember, people were on to the trillion, so he announced it that year, 2.3 trillion. He had to announce it, and then 9/11 happened, just coincidentally. I don't think it was a coincidence, and because they wipe out all those financial offices, by the way, particularly in the Pentagon, right? What better way to try to cover up what's going on with the missing trillions? But that's what happened, guys, that hideous event, killing innocent lives, of course, with 9/11, and eventually allowed America to inject power in the Middle East like never before, right? And they're trying to strip away the Constitution ever since. We know what's happened. I believe it was an inside job, but that's a whole other video. So under George W. Bush, guys, you know what even Catherine tells you, right after 9/11, what did Bush do? He voted an increase, the son of George W., I guess, right? He increased it to a $48 billion increase in DOD. Unbelievable, right? Imagine that. So, yeah, I mean, the numbers, guys, and you know, here's another number I'll bring before I forget. In 2015, Catherine said you got $6.5 trillion missing. Think about this money, my friends. $6.5 trillion missing. I wonder how many 20s that is, let alone $100 bills. Unbelievable. And between 1998 and fiscal 2002, I believe, I think she said you got about $4 trillion was missing, or 4.5. I think 4 trillion. Unbelievable. And guys, it gets even more outrageous. If you go back to the early 1990s, my friends, to the bailouts, you know, and if you go back to, say, 2015, I think it was, or 2016, Catherine said you were up to $40 trillion, she estimated, shifted out of North America. That's right, because you got the bailouts, you know, which is about $20 trillion. Remember I said the 21 trillion missing since 1998. 20 trillion, you know, basically bailed out to the banks. You got your quantitative easing pumping up of the stock markets. You literally had 11.5 trillion missing back then as well from the U.S. federal government, guys. So she estimated, and obviously she knows it's probably a very accurate estimate, but you had at least 40 trillion shifted out of North America, and that doesn't even include what may have been shifted in the developed world in Europe, my friends. Exactly. And now in 2019, 2020, we're up to $50 trillion, she estimates, guys. I mean, and even when it was at 40 trillion, I was so shocked to hear this, and hopefully you guys will be as well. Could discuss it with your friends. But when it was at 40 trillion, she told the interviewer, she said, you put an endowment at 5%, you know, you get 2% return a year, you can finance the global government on a private basis. That's exactly right, everyone. And the interviewer laughed at her, and she said, no, I'm serious. And she said, look, you know, oh, here's another story, guys. So I think it was shortly after 9/11. It was one summer. She was in a town hall meeting, okay, with a congressman who's on the appropriations subcommittee for both defense and the budget. Catherine looks at this person and says, Congressman, we got $3.3 trillion. Yes, $3.3 trillion missing the last 2 years from DOD, defense. What are you going to do about it? You know what the answer was? The person looks at Catherine and says, nothing. There's nothing I can do about it. Unbelievable, right? In the same interview, Catherine says, and then you want to hear a more shocking statement. She says, she was talking about, or yeah, the interviewer said, the interviewer just couldn't believe what she was saying, and said, did you hear that statement? This is shocking. Did you hear? And Catherine said, you want to hear a more shocking statement? She says, look, she was talking to a chairman who was on the board, or sorry, a chairman who was working for a senator who was in charge of the appropriations subcommittee for both HUD and 21 other various agencies, guys, okay? Remember HUD for Housing and Urban Development. Well, a chairman, here's the significance, guys, a chairman who's in charge of the appropriations subcommittee, and Catherine will tell you this, is arguably higher than OMB, higher, you know, the highest in sort of the pecking scheming orders of government money, you know, in Washington. And this person tells Catherine, looks at her straight in the eye and says, do you know what's going on at HUD? And Catherine says, no, what's going on? And this person looks at Catherine and says, HUD is being run as a criminal enterprise. Again, Housing and Urban Development, guys, right? Catherine was secretary for it, for Housing Urban Development, excuse me. And Catherine says, well, I don't doubt you. That next summer, HUD voted a huge increase in their appropriation. And here's the thing, guys. Catherine tells you what's interesting about that statement about HUD being run as a criminal enterprise. It's so significant, guys, and just shows the depth and breadth of the corruption is just off the scales, guys, in the United States. Okay? And a lot of it's going to the military, believe me, unfortunately. And for illegal operations, guys. And military UFOs, hello, as I've said. But she said, like, what HUD is run on a matrix structure, excuse me, guys. HUD is run on a matrix structure. So you can't run HUD as a criminal enterprise unless the criminal justice, the New York Fed member banks, and the Treasury run it as a criminal enterprise. That's right. This is what's happening, guys. And, you know, I also found it really enlightening, again, to learn about Catherine's encapsulated view, listening to one of her interviews. She said, she was telling dark journalists this, I believe, but, you know, during the telecom bubble and internet bubble, you know, back in the day, she would drive around, you know, communities, towns, and cities, particularly around towns, I guess, and stuff, and she would just look at these business installations and eventually go inside, and she could price out, you know, their overhead for a year and talking to the people in these businesses. And out of 25 or 30 businesses, basically, she was saying, guys, not one of them, not one except for one that was flourishing for whatever whatever reason had a great business, maybe in Texas there, but not one of them could carry their overhead, guys. They weren't, you know, they weren't, what do you call it, economically viable, in other words, right? They couldn't carry their variable costs in these installations. So the point is, she was seeing how, you know, they funnel money out of communities, towns, and cities. She could see these communities, guys, and I'm sure cities as well to a large extent, they were largely symbolic, you know, to the financial fraud that was going on, the stock market fraud. And a lot of this, guys, that she knows too, is going to the black budget, okay? And you know, that was during the internet and telecom bubble, not now necessarily, guys. But I thought that was pretty amazing to find that out, right? And so, again, I mentioned the $50 trillion, guys. And by the way, when Catherine was working for HUD, of course, her and a group of people, of course, they got laws passed for the governments to provide what you call undocumented adjustments, guys. This is very important. Now, an undocumented adjustment, here's an example of what it is. Let's say you've got $1,000 in your checking account, right? And the bank sends you a statement saying you have $500. Instead of trying to figure out where the difference came from, you just send a statement saying you got $1,500 and voila, you balance your checkbook, okay? Well, since that process started, I believe Catherine said it was in 1995, they got that law passed. We were, I think, and in the interview was about 2015 or 2016 or so, guys. But she said we were up to $12 trillion in undocumented adjustments. That's right. The interview might have been 2017 or 2018, but somewhere around there, just a couple years ago, guys. $12 trillion or so in undocumented adjustments and transactions, guys. Unbelievable, right? You know? And here's the thing, too, my friends. Speaking of undocumented adjustments, right? Again, based on the U.S. Constitution, the law is set up. You know, you can't spend any money unless you can show it, you know, where the money came from and that it was spent in accordance with an appropriation, okay? Which is a good thing, right? Well, again, guys, if you can't show where the money came from and that it was spent in an accordance to an appropriation and you got undocumented adjustments, you're operating outside the law, right, guys? That's what these corporations and these groups are doing. And elements of the CIA, NSA, NRO, Deep Black Program Contractor, some of them guys. And again, this is very serious business because if you're a local state government, right, or a private corporation, you're operating outside the law, the banks won't do statements for you. And Catherine knows this full well, right? The banks won't do statements, transactions for you, and the stock market will shut you down. Like I said, guys, this is very serious business. And again, like I said, we're up to $12 trillion in undocumented adjustments just a couple years ago. So, guys, you know, we've got to provide transparency and look at this serious financial issue, right? It is, And you know what's insane? And Catherine, I'm sure it just it made her exasperated as well. You know, remember there was a push. Just again, it was either last year or the year before, I think, and I'm not sure what happened. You guys can leave me a comment in the section there, particularly you guys in the United States, if you know what happened. But there was a push to have a Constitution Convention on the theory that we need to change the Constitution and force a balanced budget amendment, right? And Catherine, guys, I totally agree with her here. She says, no, we don't need to change the Constitution. We need to enforce it. And part of enforcing it means we need to find out where that 40 trillion went. Now it's up to 50 trillion. We got to find out where that 50 trillion went, for example, and get it back on the budget, guys, right? Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just plugging the hole with our personal resources, our property, and therefore our personal wealth, guys. That's crazy. That's insane, right? You know, well, why are we going to let ourselves be financially harvested, guys? Let's use some reason, logic, common sense, man. Fitz was right on. And she also said, you know, and here's the thing, guys. There's ways of getting that money back on the budget. So both management in the federal budget, for example, both financial and management laws, there's ways of getting the equivalent of that money in the form of assets or common law right of offset back. So let's find out, guys, where did the 50 trillion go and try to get it back on the budget. It's going to be a challenge, guys, but we can do it, I think, right? And again, we just got to provide transparency and truth, guys, on some of the illegal operations, military UFO flying programs, and then we're going to start to unravel, guys, these shadow groups, these greedy troglodytes. We are going to unravel this huge cover-up that they're very nervous about, guys, and we can help compel them to explain it away. Otherwise, we'll explain away ourselves, guys, with, again, breaking down all the walls of this absurd elite secrecy on it. It's crazy. You guys, you know, Catherine tells you, I mean, again, the dysfunction and waste that we can see in our economy, right? It's off the charts, guys. That's why she subscribes to the Winston Churchill approach a little bit, and I do too, right? Tell the people, because it's way better than the dysfunction, waste, mismanagement, abuse, the theft of all these trillions of dollars, guys. It really is, right? I mean, enough is enough. And again, guys, it's been going on at least since 1947, where a large part of the economy, defining driver of the U.S. economy, I believe, has been space, okay? And now we see that more than ever now. It's just exciting, amazing times, no doubt about it. So this is what I wanted to talk about, guys, on the missing trillions today. Trying to remember all this, and I'm just trying to think if there's anything I remember, forgot. I don't think so. Just going to look at my timer here. I think we're all good. Oh, the other thing I meant to mention, my friends, is the $50 trillion. Joe from the Carolinas, he asked me a great question, one of many on the live stream, if you ever listen to it, everyone. But he said, where do you think the $50 trillion is going, Jason? Where did it go? Well, that's a great question. That's the $50 trillion question, as Joe said, right? Well, the question is, how much is that for off-planet investment, which a significant part is, guys. Like I said, once you create exo-atmospheric vehicles, which the United States, and again, Russia, China do as well, guys. They've got military UFO flying programs. Again, the TR-3B, some of these black triangles, it's trans-international, guys. It's on the China patch. It's on the Mir space station for Russia, guys. I've shown you those patches in the past. It's trans-international, okay? But a lot of that money, therefore, once you create exo-atmospheric vehicles that swiftly move into space, if you guys watch my last video on the TR-3B, we'll do more videos on the triangles, on the military UFOs, guys. Then you can swiftly go to our nearest celestial bodies, Moon and Mars, guys, for all this off-planet covert investment. That's what they've been doing. But we deserve the truth on it, guys, right? Because when you're gouging taxpayers to the tune of trillions of dollars over the decades and hundreds of billions of dollars of covert economic crime cash flows, guys, we deserve the truth on all of it, right? What's going on here, right? Absolutely. So, as I was saying, my friends, how much of that 50 trillion is for off-planet investment and covert weaponry, I think, is a significant part of it as well, even though it's illegal, of course, with the space treaties to have covert weaponry. But most people, most researchers, and even Fitz knows too, she suspects the US have significant covert weapons, guys. Scalar weapon technology. Joseph P. Farrell, I'm sure, has blogged about it a lot. Guys, this is happening. We got to look at it, right? It's critical. And it's critical to sort of the preservation of some of this U.S. reserve currency and the global markets, right? Absolutely. And again, guys, most financial commentators, they don't look at the covert side the way Catherine has. They don't understand the control methods used to manage the economy. And the black budget, this is why we got to look at it, guys. The black budget, we've got a significant off the main path black budget, guys. You know, what I meant to say in the introduction, of course, guys, is that this classified, secret classified endowment of trillions and trillions of dollars, that includes, like I said, guys, hundreds of billions of dollars of covert economic crime cash flows the last several decades, probably trillions really, and trillions of dollars from U.S. taxpayers stolen. I mean, I told you guys before, I did a whole series just on the F-35 plane, even on the TR-3B series coming out of Lockheed Martin. I discussed the F-35, again, prime contractor, none other than infamous Lockheed Martin, who are doing a lot of amazing breakthroughs. I give them credit where credit's due, guys. But the F-35 and Lockheed Martin know this too, guys. Come on. It is the biggest scam on taxpayers in history. And actually, mainstream media finally did a good job over the years actually reporting large parts of the fraud, waste, and abuse, mismanagement of spending at times on the F-35, guys. Over $1 trillion spent on this ridiculous plane. This is an example, guys, of the fraud, the waste, the abuse, mismanagement of spending, right? Michael Schratt's done great jobs talking about the F-35. Experts like Pierce Spray as well, who's a former military guy, right? Worked on secret projects with the United States. He knows what's going on. He tells you it's a turkey plane, guys. It's ridiculous. Right? Well, where do you think a lot of that money goes as well, my friends, over the $1 trillion spent on this? I think we're probably at 1.5 trillion or so now, right? If you just got to know how the aerospace companies works, guys, and what happens in these black projects. It gets transferred over, the money largely, to more highly classified vehicles, guys. Military UFOs. For the Navy, for the Air Force, absolutely it does, guys. And this is what we got to be aware of. You know, no country needs a fleet of F-35s, particularly my powerful country of Canada. We're never even going to buy them, right? We're on the investment. We might buy them. We said to the public, our naive public here, some of us here in Canada, we said, oh, well, we might purchase some F-35s. No, we're not. They're way too expensive. And Canada, why would we need a fleet of F-35s, let alone even one, right? The United States, we know, can protect Canada. They can protect all of their allies. The United States, the Empire of the United States, guys, are armed to the teeth. They absolutely are, as I've said in other videos. And this is where a lot of the trillions of dollars are going, guys. And some of it's good. You know, it's great to have a strong military. Don't get me wrong. But the U.S. have been armed to the teeth for decades, my friends. And especially, you know, this all got started even big time during the Reagan administration, right? With STS Star Wars, we know that. The militarization of space, basically, guys. So let's be aware of that, right? But yeah, a lot of this is, again, guys, I can't stress enough. A lot of this is for military UFOs. Oh, and I meant to say, part of the $50 trillion, as I said, part of it is how much is it for off-plan investment versus how much is it to retrench manufacturing back to America, because I know they want to, at least some of these shadow groups, you like to hope they do, versus how much is it to assert a global governance of the whole earth, guys. Because some of these greedy troglodytes and these guys that want to exercise too much power and dominance, and we're seeing that in our world, unfortunately, guys, elements of the CIA particularly, but and the defense contractors at times. You know, how much is it to assert a global governance of the whole earth? The G7, G20, we know, is a push to assert a global governance system. And as Catherine will tell you, thankfully, you know, they're stuck in the mud. She thinks, you know, they're sort of encountered more salty on the ground than they expected, right? So we'll see how that plays out. But guys, we need a whole new awareness campaign over the United States intel agencies, guys. That's where it starts. It absolutely does. And that means doing videos. Let's do podcasts, guys. Let's bring an awareness campaign. You know, I give credit to even dark journalists. He talks about the CIA at times, guys. We need people to be courageous and talk about what the hell is going on with the CIA and some of their behaviors, my friends, and other people involved, right? Absolutely. Because guys, when you're talking about these echelons of society, and again, I'm talking about elements of the CIA, not everybody in those organizations, but the intelligence community, my friends, you know, again, when you're with this hidden secret system of finance, guys, you know, some parts of the intelligence community and again the military guys, they literally can implement their will, whether it be personnel files, as I said, electronic harassment, electronic weapons, and again, this is all patent, guys. You can find some of the patents for yourselves on all this technology. But whether it be, you know, offering personnel benefits, whether it be threatening or killing your loved ones, guys, you know, again, guys, elements of the CIA, some of the shadow military troglodytes, some of them, they pull diva moves a lot, guys, almost all the time. It really is. It's almost laughable, but it's evil too, right, guys? It's crazy, you know. It's I say laughable, maybe that's not the right term, guys, but some of the diva move. When I tell you some of the stories from Catherine Austin Fitts one day of the CIA, I think it will make you laugh. It's just so outrageous. But seriously, guys, when you've got echelons of society that can implement its will like this, and at the very, very highest echelons of society, guys, because again, most, you know, people think of congressmen, senators as all powerful. You know, I have a lot of friends that think they watch a lot of corporate mainstream media and a lot of the brain distraction, and they've been bought into thinking that, yeah, congressmen, senators are all powerful. Well, they've got a certain amount of power, but guys, you've got to look at the covert side. You've got to look at how the economy is really being managed. You got to look at who's causing these ethnic wars largely in the Middle East, guys, right? It's elements of the CIA for decades. I'm not the only one that's mentioned this and shown you guys the evidence. This is what sometimes the intelligence communities do, elements of them, guys. It's all to inject power in the Middle East, to cause enormous privileges, again, for small groups of people, guys, okay? So again, at the very highest echelons of society, some of the corporate elitists, the deep state shadow government guys, we're literally talking about, with this hidden secret system of finance, it is literally placed, first of all, it's literally placed the intelligence community, I would argue, of the United States and the corporate intelligence community in the role of international banksters. Absolutely, guys. And here's something that, you know, really blew my mind. And Catherine knows this, guys, and it's true. With this hidden secret system of finance, and all you got to look at is military UFO flying programs, guys, and what's going on with all this covert investment, all the major manufacturing, industrializing on the moon and Mars. You know the military's not just going to do it on their own, guys. And of course, you got whistleblowers on occasion telling you this stuff. But guys, if you connect the dots, you don't even need to rely on whistleblowers. Reason, logic, common sense, guys. We could just see their behavior even on our precious planet as well, my friends. Not to mention what's going on in our underground bases. We'll get in that in future videos. And under ocean facilities we got worldwide, guys. But this echelon of society with the hidden secret system of finance, it has literally created a secret slavery system that is part of running and servicing the secret financial system, guys. And Catherine Austin Fitts knows it as well, guys. We've got to talk about it, right? We've got to stop pretending this isn't happening. Slavery is never a good thing, particularly this type of slavery that's going on, guys, okay? And they're gouging taxpayers. This money is not going towards healthcare. We'll do more videos on talking about that, guys, where this money should be going towards healthcare, right? Again, that's reason, logic, common sense. All of us that have good hearts and want to help others, this is where we got to get the money flowing into, my friends. Get it out from the defense contractors more. Get it out from the CIA and these shadow groups and these greedy troglodytes. Let's get it going into healthcare, helping build our infrastructure on our precious planet. Again, speaking with healthcare, guys, let's help heal the sick, in other words, pay our nurses more. Of course, help with education, you know. My beautiful sister's a nurse, you know. I respect the nursing profession and doctors, guys. We've got to do that, okay? And we're going to do future videos, guys. Speaking of nurses, doctors, engineers, you know, brilliant people, we've got a lot of them off planet. And Billy Carson tells you the same thing, guys. Remember, all you have to know is, if you're going to have a multiplanetary civilization off planet like on Mars, which is happening, and now you have the whole world to have that push overtly to have the multiplanetary civilization. And I've described and told you guys briefly, it's already happening. It's been happening for decades, guys. And that's why Musk tells you he's going to Mars if he gets there in 5 years. This shill for the CIA, a CIA puppet, a commercial dangle. That's all he's used for, guys. To disorient you. Don't let him disorient you and lie to you guys, okay? Don't be deceived. But what I'm saying is, guys, there's a multiplanetary civilization already there. And once you know that there's so much covert production going off planet, then you know they're using slave colonies, unfortunately, to do it, guys. Okay? And even Billy tells you, you know, he suspects the 800,000 disappearances, you know, for example, in the United States or whatever the number is. It's pretty astronomical. I think 500,000 are young kids, if I'm not mistaken, that are never seen again, guys. You guys in the comment section, if you dig up the information, maybe you could give me accurate numbers, more accurate. But guys, we got a significant amount of young people disappearing. Again, scientists, doctors, even Billy tells you, you know, sometimes they leave messages for their families, and they're saying we're going for a better life, they describe. Meaning Mars, guys. This is happening. And of course, bases all over the far side of the moon. But I mean, it's I know it sounds wild, guys. It sounds amazing, right? It sounds almost too hard to believe, but it's happening, guys. You just got to look at the technology and see the behavior. You know, and we got major slavery here, guys. We're going to do whole videos just on slavery, but I really wanted to bring transparency more and some facts, guys, on the missing trillions, as you know today. Okay, hopefully I was able to do that in a fairly comprehensive way. I give honorable mention, thanks to Catherine Austin Fitz again for her great work, and that's why I was able to come up with some of those numbers in particular, guys. But we've got to look at this whole hidden secret system of finance, right? How it was put into place. Let's look at the timeline. It's been going on for a long, long time, guys. And really, you know, Catherine knows it too. Right from the beginning in time, she thinks, you know, largely she thinks it's always been sort of private governance. And you needed the governments to own, control, and finance the military technology, for example, right? She almost says like the governments were, it's almost like a front, you know, with governments. And so the big change in the government structure now, and it's a very dangerous change, I would argue, my friends, is that, including slavery, with the digital technology, you know, perfecting the labor now, as I touched on earlier, slavery is more prevalent than ever, guys, and most people don't even realize it. And we got to talk about it and stop that, right? But, you know, the governments, guys, they no longer own and control the military technology. I wanted to end on this note because it's all buried, like I said, guys, within private corporations largely, okay? It's managed and controlled and owned by private corporations. And that's where we got to dig in for the truth, guys, I believe, and the defense contractors, right? Absolutely. And they're doing a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, mismanagement, and spending. Like I said, guys, the F-35, the biggest weapons project, totally unnecessary. Biggest weapons project we know in history, and the biggest scam we know on taxpayers in history, guys. Okay, it's ridiculous, and it's not even a great plane. We'll do more series on the F-35, but again, a lot of the missing trillions goes to things like that too, guys. And Lockheed Martin are right at the helm of this, man. They're the prime contractors. Let's expose these guys respectfully and firmly, my friends. Okay. We can grow a culture and society, my friends, to sustain ethical leadership. We absolutely can. Let's dig in for the truth, my friends. If you enjoyed my video today, I hope you did. I hope you subscribe. Give me the thumbs up. Of course, feel free to share my videos. And again, feel free to leave a comment, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I know it was a long video, but hopefully you enjoyed most of the information. Heck, listen to the video when you're cooking or something. You can go back to it if you want, okay? Because hopefully I've shocked you with some numbers, you know, with the missing trillions and this financial infrastructure and really what's going on, guys, and where the money's going, okay? I always say the real secret space program, I think it's one of the most, if not the most fascinating subject and topics of our time, and it's the most important subject of our times, guys. I truly believe that. When you're financially harvesting the planet, again, to produce the resources to go into space and to create all these military UFO flying programs over the decades, when you're talking a cover-up for 70 years now, guys, they still haven't told us hardly any truth on it. You know, you're getting so much lies and disinformation. When you discuss all this, guys, and when you see it in the behavior, it's the most important subject, guys. It's going to get you off stinky old gas coal, right? You're not going to need a centralized utility bill because it's clean, alternative-free energy, my friends. The black budget technology. That's where a lot of the missing trillions are going, my friends. And we need to discuss it and use intelligent discourse, okay? And when we speculate, that's okay too. But let's try to connect the dots as much as we can. And, you know, some interesting speculation when called upon, that's a good thing too. And we can do that on podcasts as well, my friends. Thanks, guys. Hopefully I'll have a Patreon, PayPal account maybe linked in the description. If you want to support my channel, really appreciate it. Anybody wants to help me with Photoshop thumbnails as well, again, I'd be grateful. And I could use a better video camera, hint, hint, or a video camera. Pardon me, I'm only using a phone. But anyway, take care, guys. I know whatever support you give me, you know, I know your intentions are pure. And I deeply appreciate it. And I appreciate my subscribers. And let's grow this channel, guys. And I compel the good people in YouTube, because I know there's good people in there. Guys, please promote my videos. And that means you CIA, if you're in the rabbit hole of YouTube, please. I need to get these messages out for the world, man. And together, guys, again, we can, you know, provide more information and ultimately make an amazing change, you know, okay? A positive change. It will be global vigilance let's have global vigilance for victory, in other words, guys. I know I'm ranting here on a ramble, but seriously, right? Global vigilance for victory. Let's get our power and sovereignty back, my friends. And like I said, when we find out where these trillions of dollars are going, you have a good idea probably now where it's going, right? If you watch this video and listen. But I'm telling you, my friends, when we penetrate this black budget technology, because like I said, it's my life goal to do so. I said in the last video, my friends, and I'll keep saying it. And very few of us have noble intentions of trying to penetrate this black budget technology, guys. Michael Schratt's one of them. Billy Joe from the Carolinas, he doesn't look as much as the covert side as I do. He orients his research sometimes differently than I do, but that's okay. He's trying to bring some truth as well on the space programs in his own way, which is great. So thanks, Joe. You got Dark Journalists doing a great job. Joseph P. Farrell, Walter Bosley. But we need more of us, my friends. I truly believe that, okay? So like I said, guys, it will be the pinnacle of satisfaction. We will be jubilant. We will celebrate. I'm telling you guys, when we get our divine right to this black budget technology, and it will beautify our planet, as I always say, in ways we can't even begin to imagine. And we will travel anywhere around the world in an hour or less. My book on the secrets of anti-gravity in the 1950s with that technology, they were already telling you that, okay? So thanks for listening, guys. The missing trillions, man. Let's discuss the money and let's get that money back on the budget. Thanks, guys. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.